Okay, how did our ideas come about? It came about because I read a book. It's called Blue Ocean. I don't know if you have read it before. Basically, it talks about building a niche within an industry. So when I came out to do business, I wanted to have an idea that was a blue ocean, that was a niche. And I'm in the ice cream business. But how our ice cream is different from others is that we have seriously alcoholic ice cream. By seriously alcoholic, I mean that all our orders require liquor license. Okay, and we have alcohol content of up to about 5 or 6%, which is similar to beer. Before I came on the market, before I started the business, I did a market survey. And basically, everyone was selling ice cream, but more or less they are about the same. So I needed to find something that was different. And so that was what it was, go into liqueur ice cream. And we have more or less become the market leader for liqueur ice cream in Singapore. And hopefully, within the next 1 or 2 years, we will actually look overseas.
Maybe a little background. Someone asked me, what do you do? I said, I'm a Kalandu. For a simple reason, when I graduated from university abroad, when I came back, I knew that I didn't want to work for anybody because I knew that I'm very good at whatever I do as long as I put my heart at it. And the last, okay, this is actually not very advisable. You're all graduating students, right? I just believed that at that point of time, that I could strike it on my own. I didn't have any high expectations of, overheads wise, I didn't have very high overheads. So I said, well, if I got 5 years before I do anything else, before overheads start climbing with investments, I would try out something on my own. How I started out, it's been hard for me to explain to you because I can only run 8 businesses. So if you ask me which one, maybe we'll start with Hauslab being the most current. All right. Hauslab is a design and build turnkey business. In the construction business in Singapore, you would realize that if you had a property, you would need to see an architect. You would then have to go source for a builder and then do a interior design. What we have done is to consolidate everything into a turnkey business. That means everything is in-house. All right. That's where we feel that there is I would say, a different service offering. Like my dear friend here had to study the market, same thing here. We had to provide something that no one else provides, and that is to provide in everything, including the carpentry factories. To get your own architectural license is not easy because you have to be a professional. All right. So what we did was we went out and we acquired. All right. It's easier for us because we've got other businesses, so funding's not a problem. Okay. But we managed to acquire all the pieces to give it a kickstart right away. All right. So if you're talking from that aspect, just a quick one. We've acquired another business to go into BIM, Building Information Modeling. If you are architectural students, you would have heard of that. That's moving forward. That's where the government is pushing in the next 2 years. In 2 years' time, any building being built, the professionals working on it would need to submit their building plans through BIM. Like DCA is starting to talk about it now. Right? So what we have done now is to provide that by buying out an existing business in India that's been doing that. So that's how it's foresight. You got to know what's happening in the market and what is going to be required down the road to be able to do that. I don't know whether that's a question or not, but that's what it is.
Thank you. So we have heard from both David and Ben. Perhaps Yee would offer a different perspective given that you come from the social enterprise sector.
I'm not so sure the perspective is going to be different. I appreciate what you said just now about, I'm not really sure whether we're going to give you good advice today because when I look at all the businesses over here, and then I think all the directors would sometimes like sit back and then we'll think, how on earth did we get to this particular place right now? So the companies right now, there are about 5 companies. 3 companies were drawing about 3 million a year in terms of revenue. The rest of them are getting about $1 million a year each. And I think honestly, none of us are business trained. we just have very big balls. I don't know whether that's the right way to say it. But what happens is it was always, it began with a hunch. So let's say, for example, that I would look at a certain need in society, and we would look at, say, that was really interesting because I came from the junior college system, so I was teaching in junior college, and at the point in time what's happening was that students were primarily reading three main magazines, Time, Newsweek, and Economist. And the whole idea itself was that students had to read this because they were just preparing for exam, right? But you could see this in behavior. Every school made it compulsory, they had to order it, and no one would read it. And all these kids itself would have these magazines come in every week, and they would still be in plastic wrappers, and then it would be this big red pile of guilt that would just keep piling up. And no one would actually read these magazines, and people were just looking at them and just saying, isn't it therefore possible for us to run a current affairs magazine that really meets their needs? And we felt that it was important because, as far as Singapore is concerned, there just wasn't enough material for Singaporeans to read current affairs in our context. Everything was international, they were very global that political way. And we felt there was a missing national narrative. We felt that as far as Singapore was concerned, we needed to build something that was, I guess, very contextualized here. So we ran the magazine. I remember when we first started, it was, we calculated the worst case scenario. If we could have 400 subscribers, it would be great, right? And it would just sustain with 400 subscribers. And it was the first year, this SRJC, Serangoon Junior College, came over and said, can we subscribe to this magazine? And this wonderful lady came over and she subscribed for 500 copies, right? And that helped me survive that one entire year. The following year, Newsweek came over and says, can we buy over your magazine? And we were going, what? And then they said, we're from Newsweek, and this school just told us that they're going to cancel the entire year of Newsweek just because of the magazine, right? And we said, wow, right? And we didn't understand that we were doing this. And when we went in, what happened over here was that we decided not to sell. So as a model over here, the magazine does not allow advertising. It comes to a place where it just speaks about Singapore content. We run on a purely subscriber model. We don't allow advertising because we think it might compromise the ability to just speak, right? And we're at 36,000 subscribers. Brunei, Hong Kong are all buying this bigger magazine. And honestly, in retrospect, it just started off with some randomness. We just felt that there was a need. We just created it. So countries like Brunei, Hong Kong are just saying they want exactly the same thing because Asian countries are all saying the same thing, that they don't have current affairs material. Everything is decontextualized. Everything is about what's happening in America and Japan. Nothing is decontextualized here. And they wanted that material to go together. So when we put everything together, I think it was just, we looked at it, we just saw a certain need, and we created a business around that particular need. I guess in the most socially serving way possible. I don't know whether.
Thank you.